He didn't want them following him. Because of the motivation. Because they were being motivated by that voice of instinct, that devil, the great serpent, the most cunning of all animals, to follow him, not because they wanted to find the only true Father, not because they wanted to find God, because they wanted to have their animal cravings satisfied. So he told them things that he knew would drive them away from him, and it's exactly what happened. He drove them away. And the only ones who were left, as recorded in John chapter 6, were those who were particularly chosen, who were hearing the word of the Father tell them in their heart, in their mind, in their selves, in the secret places inside them, that he really was the one. When the others said, "This is too hard a teaching. We can't accept this." Who could accept this teaching? And they turned away and no longer followed him, because he drove them away on purpose. And the only ones who were left were those who heard the word of the Father telling them he was the one, whereas the ones who turned away were the ones who listened to the word of that voice of instinct, that talking snake, the great serpent, the one that told them, follow him because he can give you what you need. He can help you survive. He can satisfy your cravings. He can make you great. Not only will he give you bread to keep you alive, but he will make you great people. The great Jews who rule the world, whose great supernatural Messiah, warrior king, son of David, will slay the Romans and make you all the great nation of Israel that they perceived. To be what the prophets were talking about. What they perceived the kingdom to be, erroneously, because it has to do with their animal drive to be great. The drive that drove Judas, the drive that drove those very disciples who were arguing about who would be greatest, that drove the two that came and asked for the special favor of being the greatest in this kingdom that they didn't understand. The kingdom that they still had no concept of. So he kept talking about it in terms that were alien to them, but terms that were real, because he wanted to convey the fact that it had nothing to do with this earthly existence. It had nothing to do with kingdoms that they knew about. That's why he kept calling it not the kingdom of David as they understood it in their instinct-driven minds and hearts, but the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of something unnatural, the kingdom of something unseen, the kingdom of that place where God lives, who is unseen and unheard and completely hidden. The kingdom of the Spirit, the kingdom of the chosen sons of the hidden Father. The kingdom of anything except that which the humans knew and conceived of in their instinct-driven brains and hearts, minds, hopes and dreams, all guided by that same voice. Benign as it seemed to good Jews who felt like they deserved what was promised to them. Promised in the words they read. According to their interpretation, according to the drive of instinct that made them interpret in the way that they did. The words that favored them. The subject of the temptation of Jesus addresses this perfectly, the true nature of this instinct, the true voice of the talking snake, the Satan, who in terms of the way writers wrote was standing before Jesus. But was really not some evil god entity that was flying around and flew in and landed before him in the desert. It was in his thoughts. It was that which was allowed to be inside him, in his heart, in his mind, to tempt him. Not as the mythical devil god of human lore and fancy. Not the mythological bad god with a will of its own, flying around trying to get the good people to be bad. But that same voice that the humans listen to, the same voice that the humans always listen to, which is what that garden sequence explains as the true nature of man.